Hey, what's up, everybody? So today I want to take a look at a movie that I'm sure most of you know at this point. It's not exactly a new movie, called I Love You Man, starring Paul Rudd as a realtor. So much in the spirit of some of the prior movies I put out regarding the South Park real estate episode, as well as Glenn Ross, I wanted to do a little bit of a reaction video to Paul Rudd's role in I Love You Man. This one was really fun. Actually, I've seen this movie 1,000 times. For a while, it was always on like network cable and whatnot, and just one of those movies I just ended up watching many times. Great movie. But I don't think I had actually watched it since I became a realtor roughly 3 years ago, and was kind of surprised at how kind of on point it is. The last reaction video that I did with Glenn Ross fully acknowledged that that really isn't residential real estate or conventional real estate. It was definitely a specific model for investment properties and kind of a dark underbelly of real estate, whereas this one's pretty on point. Now, most of this movie talks about a kind of premium luxury listing that he has, but I think that for the most part it's actually very appropriate in terms of what your average realtor does. So we're going to touch on a couple things here. I think it's actually a really great example of some of the ways that realtors are portrayed in movies. And I think Paul Rudd does a great job, and let's examine whether or not Paul Rudd is a good realtor.
Hey, so what up, dog? How's that Ferrigno dealio coming?
It's coming good. Yeah, I'm getting ready to show in a couple weeks.
Oh, great. Dude, I'm just going to throw this out there because it's a big piece of house. If you want to co-pilot on this, I'd be happy to team up with you.
No, I know. I feel like, I want to give myself the challenge. And,
Yeah,
just see how it goes. I appreciate the offer.
No sweat.
Hey, anyway, my girlfriend and I, we had this very special evening planned, and
Oh!
All right. So just to set the stage, because this is a very short clip, obviously, but just to set the stage here, Paul Rudd's character is talking to his colleague, Tevin Downey, and he gets this kind of disingenuous offer to split the Ferrigno listing, Lou Ferrigno. And, this is a thing. I mean, you could certainly get a disingenuous offer from a colleague to split a listing. Generally speaking, split listings, this is standard information for pretty much any realtor, but just in case someone from the general public would like to know, I mean, realtors split listings all the time. It could be a shared lead, it could be a large project like a Ferrigno listing, but there's reasons that we split listings. But an approach like this from a colleague he clearly is not a fan of obviously wouldn't be such a great offer. And Paul Rudd is, his character in the beginning of the movie is very passive and is really trying his best to be courteous, but tell, Tevin to, with all due respect, I'm really not interested in splitting the listing. Earlier in the movie, not that it's that important, but subplot is that he's trying to take this Ferrigno listing, get the commission from it, and invest it in a real estate project that he'd like to do himself, which is, again, pretty apropos for any realtor. A lot of us are always kind of working on some sort of real estate investment or project, or really anything that's along the lines of real estate investment, which is, I think, the objective of most high-producing realtors, myself included. So we're setting the stage here for what will transpire for the rest of the movie, but he's obviously not interested in this, again, disingenuous offer from Tevin.
If you could roll the world with the flip of a switch, would you do it?
Getting that open house ready for guests. This is obviously a very high stakes open house.
Just so you could be rich, would you do it?
He's got his handouts, takeaways.
I live down there.
I like it. I'm liking it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good space, it's a good vibe.
Yeah, terrific. Well, when Santa Ana's come through, it is majestic.
Thanks.
I'm excited.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
So he's puffing up the listing to that potential
Hello.
buying couple.
If you need help, just let me know.
Thanks.
And this is where we meet Sydney Fife, his soon-to-be friend.
Thank you for eating.
I'm the first one, huh?
Yeah.
I never understood why people are so afraid to eat at an open house.
I know.
No. Why's Ferrigno selling?
Oh, he bought a place in Jackson Hole.
Ah.
Yeah, I think he's tired of the Hollywood grind.
Right. You know, I've always wanted a pad with a giant Lou Ferrigno statue, so I think I found it.
Hey, he's got one.
You're wasting your time with that couple. Just FYI.
Why'd he say that?
I saw the guy pull in. He's driving a Saab 9.3, which I'm not a snob. It's a great car, but it costs $30,000. This house must be, what, $4.2 million? Doesn't quite compute, right?
Well, I hope that's not the case. He told me he was going to make an offer.
I think he's trying to impress that girl he hasn't slept with yet.
Sydney's qualifying the buyers here.
Well, it's body language, you know? Like, that guy needs to fart.
This is
It's
not
pretty
how we
clear, but he
qualify
doesn't know her
buyers.
well enough to do it in front of her, so I assume they haven't slept together.
He does seem to be clenching.
Yeah, he doesn't want to fart. Watch, when he gets enough space, he can let one rip, I guarantee it. Oh, that's a good move. Hey, go check out the kitchen, honey. I'll meet you in there. Now watch. Making his move slowly, slowly but surely. Watch the leg. Wait for it. Wait for it. Fart. Boom. That's a fart, motherfucker.
God.
That's a fucking fart.
Oh, my God.
Look at him, crop dusting across your open house. It's a disgrace.
He farted in my open
He
house.
sure did.
You know what, guy? I like it, but I'm thinking it might be a little bit small.
Totally, and it smells like fart.
Yeah, let's take off, man.
Roll down the windows in that car, sweetheart.
You called that. That was like a play-by-play. That's amazing. You called that.
Yeah, well, I know my farts.
Unbelievable.
No, listen, just full disclosure. I have no interest in buying this house.
Well, then why are you here?
To eat your free food and to try to meet a divorcee.
Are you serious?
I am, yeah. I found that at the classy open houses, the spread is usually pretty decent, and there's a beautiful bevy of attractive, newly single women.
I don't know what to say. Thank you for your honesty.
Thank you for the sun-dried tomato aioli, because it's a revelation.
Oh, wow. Hey, thanks for noticing.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take this panini for the road. There's an open house in Bel Air that promises to be replete with cougars, so...
Yeah, I don't want to miss that.
No, sir. It was nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah.
Hey, let me give you my business card.
Oh, all right.
In case you're looking for, a new home or anything. I actually specialize in smaller houses, bungalows, that kind of thing.
Oh, lovely. I'll give you mine as well.
Okay.
Sydney Fife. That is my name.
Networking.
There you go.
This
Well,
is
thank
how
you
we
for
meet
being open
people as
house.
realtors.
My pleasure.
All right.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
You too, Sydney. Hello.
All right. So, yeah, a couple little things. I mean, pretty accurate assessment of an open house. So, we have people coming through. We can't really qualify them like Sydney does. And maybe that, I'm not sure if they have this attention to detail, but they're having Sydney do the qualifying of saying, hey, those people aren't going to buy the house because, Peter is a realtor. So, we have to be a little more business-like in our qualifications than just speculating. But, the other character, Sydney, doesn't have to be bound to the rules that we follow. So he's just letting Peter know, hey, I don't think those people are going to buy the house. He points out the type of car. He's as realtors, we don't get to make big assumptions like that. We kind of let it play out a little bit further, obviously. But couple things that are appropriate. Number one is the presentation of the open houses. Obviously, it's a luxury listing. He's got some very nice sandwiches there. They talk about how no one's eating. It's kind of appropriate. Like once COVID came, we didn't provide food anymore at our open houses because COVID. But what is interesting is food is an interesting thing at open houses because I know that it was always a struggle. When I was providing, very nice, like local food, I would provide like a tray from a local bakery or something. But the problem is that people start eating that food and they're tracking it all over the house. And I, eventually decided I'm like, this isn't worth it. So I actually stopped doing it before COVID. But, if you're going to do a luxury listing like that, you got a nice outdoor deck like that, looks great. I mean, that looks like a very nice presentation. So good on Paul Rudd. That's a mark for him being a good realtor. The other thing that Paul Rudd does very well there is a very natural segue into networking. He just finds out that this guy's really not interested in buying the house, but hey, if you're ever interested in buying or selling real estate, give me a call. This is how we meet people as realtors. One of the mantras as a realtor is don't be a secret agent. And he finds a very natural break and does a great job of saying to Sydney, hey, listen, man, if you ever need anything, here's my card and give me a call. And they exchange cards. That's literally how we meet people. It doesn't always have to be like a tacky thing. That seemed to be, obviously this is fiction, but it was a seemingly very natural conversation. And when I'm coaching agents that are getting started and are a little uncomfortable, and I'm going to talk about that a lot because this reminds me of a lot of agents that I work with that are unsure about how to do this. And this is a very good illustration of that. If I was going to show a scene to an agent that I was coaching, I would show them this scene to say, this is how you network naturally. I always use the example with people if you're going to say you're going to a backyard barbecue and you're introducing yourself to someone you hadn't met before, someone that lives in the neighborhood or something, and say, hey, I'm Craig, nice to meet you. Tom, what do you do for a living? Tom talks about what he does for a living, and then what is Tom going to naturally say? He's going to say, Craig, what do you do for a living? I don't ever have to pawn off my services or be tacky about it. I'm just going to tell him what I do for a living. And if Tom wants to take it to the next level, oh, that's interesting. Let me get a card from you because I know someone that's looking to sell. That's what we're hoping for. But you don't have to be pushy about it. It's definitely, I love what I do, so I'm not ashamed. Why should anyone be ashamed to say what they do for a living? And that's how we network. I mean, it's literally how we do business. So great job by Paul Rudd on doing some networking and getting a card from Sydney, who he doesn't know. I mean, Sydney might have to buy or sell a house in a few months or know someone or whatever. But that networking is so important to us realtors, and very good, accurate description of how that usually goes down. All right, let's move on. All right, we open with the scene of his park bench there with his very tacky photo.
Hey, Uncle. Hey, how was the open hizzy?
The what?
The open house.
Oh, the open house. Oh, it was great.
Yeah? Did
Yeah.
you flip that bitch yet?
No. I mean, I've had a few nibbles. No bites.
Nibbles. Me no likey nibbles. Peter, can I talk to you as a friend?
Sure.
He's obviously
Dealing
not
with
talking
the
to him as a
house of
friend.
major Hollywood celebrity, Mr. Louis Ferrigno, the Hulk from television.
Of course, I know that.
How badly do you want to sell this house?
I need to. I
I know you need to. You got to do it the old-fashioned way. You got to network. You got to meet a lot of people. You got to get them some leave-behinds.
I have brochures.
Brochures are totally different, okay?
How?
You see this picture right here?
Yeah?
Do you know who took it?
No?
M. Night Shyamalan, the director of The Village.
Okay.
What's your bus bench ad situation?
I don't have any.
What about urinal cakes?
How about urinal cakes?
Do you use them?
When I pee.
That's not what I'm talking about. Go into any Olive Garden, P.F. Chang's Chinese Bistro, TGI Fridays, Fuddruckers. What do they have in the bathroom? Urinal cakes with my face on it.
Does it? I don't see how
I've
that
had
would-
people come up to me on the streets and say, I know you from somewhere. Yeah, you do. You pissed on my face, friend.
I don't see how having somebody piss on my face is going to be able to sell Lou Ferrigno's house.
Peter, you got the steak, but I got the sizzle, my nizzle, right? Why don't we split the listing? Okay, let me wet my beak on this action. We'll both be winners.
I appreciate it, but I'd really like to try and do this myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just putting on my friend hat here.
I appreciate it.
Whoop, there he is.
All right.
Watch yourself, big girl.
All right, so yeah, again, we're painting this picture of Tevin. Tevin's a very aggressive realtor. He's obviously tapped into some form of marketing, which to his point, he's saying that Paul Rudd really hasn't gone into this world of billboards and whatnot, and he goes into the ridiculous example of, obviously for comedy reasons, of the urinal cakes, which I don't recommend that marketing method for any realtors. I don't think that's a good approach. There's always this kind of give and take as far as picking a marketing strategy that you want to stay away from stuff like what they reference here. Obviously, is not a good strategy, but billboards are a good strategy for building a brand. I don't know that it's necessarily going to help you sell a house, but I guess it wouldn't hurt. So Tevin has some points, but again, they're painting this picture to Tevin, especially in the end there when he bumps into the girl and says "big girl." He's obviously just kind of a jerky realtor. This goes against everything I stand for as a realtor in that obviously I'm not going to do that, but I try to approach things in a very kind manner, and I, am just trying to build my business and get equity out of just being a nice guy. And Paul Rudd is definitely doing that, but he definitely has a weakness in terms of his marketing. And that's something that we're going to see throughout that he works on. And later in the movie, we'll see that his buddy Sidney is going to help him quite a bit with that, and we'll get to that scene later. Tevin has a bit of a point here, but he's obviously way over the top. He's a jerk. He's asking again about splitting the listing. He's not taking the hint that that is not something that Paul Rudd's character is interested in. And I think to that point is we try to have these conversations in the office. But again, if you're getting approached by someone that's taking this approach, it's disingenuous. It's obviously not how we choose to split listings. So let's see what happens next.
Hey, so how's Ferrigno coming? You got any offers yet?
Not yet. No. The guy that I work with, Tevin Downey, he wants to share the listing with me.
Want to split the commission? What about the land you told me you wanted to buy?
So put a delay on that, but I gotta sell the place, Tevin's a total cheeseball, but he markets himself like crazy. He's on bus bench ads all over town, and he says the place is out of my league.
Hey, that is bullshit. All right, that open house was understated, it was classy and elegant. I've been to a million of those things, and nobody puts out rosemary flatbread paninis. Now, hold on, my dog needs to shit.
Paul Rudd
I'm
showing his
trying to sell the
insecurity
place,
with his
believe me,
marketing
but-
method
No,
here.
Pete, trying is having the intention to fail. You gotta scrap that word from your vocab. You say you're gonna do it, and you will. Come on, buddy. Good boy.
It's like very common kind of
plastic
motivational
bag,
advice that
Oh,
realtors
no, I
get
don't
from their
clean up after
coaches
my dog.
to
Dog poop
kind of
is
step
like
outside your
compost.
comfort zone.
It's got a ton of nutrients that enrich the soil.
Yeah, but we're in pavement.
God damn it! How about cleaning up after your dog? You mind your own fuckhole! Ah! Ah! What the fuck? Psycho?
What was that?
I'm a man, Peter. I've got an ocean of testosterone flowing through my veins. Society tells us to act civilized, but the truth is we're animals, and sometimes you gotta let it out. Try it.
I'm not gonna start screaming in the middle of the Venice boardwalk.
Come on, me.
This is like a very exaggerated version of this activity, but
Silly.
to some
Indulge me.
point, like this is something that realtors have to
That
go
was
through
really
of
good.
stepping outside this comfort
Now
zone.
gently remove your
And Sydney's
tampon
really
and try
serving the
again.
role here as just like your standard business coach. Like this is obviously not how we do it, but it
do you wanna
is
mock the
him
process?
Because it doesn't
coaching
If you don't yell, I'm gonna punch you in your
Peter
stomach.
to get outside his comfort zone and start, exhibiting some kind of freewheeling way of doing business. And that's what
really
we're
good,
looking at
man.
here.
That's terrifying. You just scared my dog.
Ah! Ah!
Yeah, you feel better?
Yeah.
Want to eat a corn dog?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Ah!
By the way, great soundtrack in this movie. I'm a big music guy, and so far we've heard Spoon, Flaming Lips, and Vampire Weekend was our last one. So great, like 2009, which is when this movie was released. Great soundtrack across the movie. So like I said, I mean, that conversation that they have on the boardwalk is a very appropriate conversation for realtors, because a lot of times, again, getting back to the coaching or masterminding that I do with agents of just kind of letting down that guard a little bit, so that because I'm a natural introvert in this job, and it's not necessarily my comfort zone to do these types of things with strangers, essentially, but you got to kind of turn it on a little bit for what we need to do, and Sydney's kind of playing this traditional role of like a business consultant or a business coach, of saying, Peter, listen, man, you gotta dig down deep and pull out that thing that gives you a little more juice in terms of what we do. It sounds corny. I feel very corny talking about it because it's really kind of not my thing. I'm not like a big motivational guy or mindset guy. That's not necessarily the coaching that I like. But I do recognize in other realtors that this is something where they need quite a push. And it's a great way to demonstrate it. It's an exaggerated version. It's for comedy, and it's obviously a Hollywood version, but I think it's pretty appropriate. So great scene there in terms of getting Paul Rudd to kind of tap into this part of him and show himself a little bit and hopefully benefit his business in terms of just being a little more confident. It all comes down to confidence, and it's in there somewhere. It's just a matter of saying, hey, it's okay if you want to let it out a little bit. So great scene on that part, and hey, good job of Paul Rudd of being coachable. I talk about all the time with agents is, you don't have to come in with all the tools, especially if you don't have a sales background, because it is essentially a sales job. But just being coachable is quite a skill. And some agents that I've worked with recently who are now just out there crushing it, this is a thing that I constantly reference is saying to that agent, you are very coachable. That's a great thing. So don't worry about the things that you're not as confident in, and just lean into the fact that you're very coachable. Being humble and being coachable is such a huge factor for starting realtors. So really great demonstration of that. Now, Peter does appear to be an experienced realtor, but he's met someone who could be a business coach. And a lot of us realtors use coaches that aren't necessarily realtors, but they could be just, I think in this, Sydney is like some sort of investment banker or something. And he clearly has some skill in terms of networking and whatnot. And he's, coaching up a realtor who is not in his line of work, but could use a little bit of that networking coaching. So great job on that scene. All right, let's move forward.
Peter, I have Lou Ferrigno for you on line 3.
All right, so we're back in the office. He's getting the dreaded call from his client.
Put him through.
Who has a slow-selling listing. And,
Mr. Ferrigno, hey, it's Peter
let's see
Clavin.
what Mr. Ferrigno has to say.
Yeah, if you just go past the first area to the left, he's right there.
Not our favorite calls as realtors.
Dan.
Man, that was my mother's name.
Really?
I don't know. Was it?
Peter, it's been on the market for 3 weeks.
Yes.
And we haven't gotten one offer.
And that's why we're having another open house this weekend.
Well, mystery woman.
I think it was very beneficial. Very beneficial.
Beneficial? It was beneficial? So you're telling me we're going to sell this house?
Absolutely. And I've gotten many nibbles this week.
Nipple?
And it's
Yes, sir.
interesting
It's
he
all about
touches
food,
on,
Peter.
is the
No one
open
cares
house
about the
beneficial
shit
to
with
selling the
sandwiches
house?
without.
No, sir. No,
You know,
I
Maybe,
absolutely
maybe not.
agree with you. You wanna
Open
sell
houses
a
are
house
most
and
beneficial
not
for us realtors to get new
scheming.
clients, as
Yes, sir.
Peter demonstrated when he got a business
Enough
card
with
from
the cold
Sydney.
cuts and the condiments, Peter.
You would like it when he's angry.
What the hell you think this is?
No, I understand. It's an open house and not a deli.
Peter? Hello? You need to focus.
Yep.
I
think. Uh-huh.
Forget about me and focus on selling my fucking house. Let's do this, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Okay.
Goodbye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You all right? Hulk busting your balls?
Yeah.
All right. So, this is a call we get when a listing is selling slowly. Now, it's interesting because, we can do a lot of things as realtors to push listings. What I do, my kind of hook is a lot of paid advertising. And these paid ads that I use to push my listings have been extremely successful. Open houses are an interesting subject for realtors because they are very important to our business, because it's generally how we get our new clients. We meet people like Sydney who need to eventually buy a house. Now, if they buy the house that they're visiting in New Jersey, we can do dual agency, and that's great. Double the commission, generally speaking, which is nice. But dual agency is kind of challenging. I think a lot of realtors would tell you it's not their preference. The paycheck is nice, but the process is, first of all, very restricted in terms of what we can do, and a bit awkward because you had previously been working solely for your seller, and now you have to represent both sides, which essentially means you don't really represent either side. You can't really advise them on the things you'd like to if you were only representing one side. But this whole idea of the open house not necessarily being beneficial to sell the house, again, is pretty on point because, have I sold houses because of the open house? Sure, and especially in this market because we're getting 40 or 50 people showing up. Would those 40 or 50 people have bought the house anyway? Probably. It is a relief to the seller because you can take that 2 or 3 hour period and get all the people through. And going back to that original open house that they showed, you're going to get some tire kickers in there. They showed the couple that's clearly not interested in buying the house, but they came for whatever, to impress the girl, or Sydney came for the sandwiches. Those people do come to open houses. That is definitely a thing. I always refer to them as tire kickers, or, the people that show up to buy a car and all they're going to do is like kick tires. They're not really serious. They're not really going to buy it. So I always say tire kickers. You're going to get quite a few. You're going to get nosy neighbors. You're going to get stuff like that. It is what it is. So generally speaking, in this market, I do think open houses help to sell a house. But this takes place in 2009 in a balanced market. It could go either way. So is that the thing you want to be pinning your listing to in terms of selling it? No. Have I had these conversations with my clients about a listing that's not moving and me trying to say, look, I'm doing everything I can and I can't necessarily elicit an offer, but I'm confidently doing everything I can in terms of traditional marketing and also pushing out the paid ads? Yes, and I want this house to sell more than anything. It's literally how I feed my family. So that conversation is something I've definitely done. It is very uncomfortable because a client can get irritated that a listing is getting stagnant, and it's a tough conversation, but it is definitely a conversation that we have pretty often. So that's, again, a pretty good little tidbit here that the writers put into the movie. So we're getting towards the end of this, and let's see what the resolution is. I think I've got one more scene here, and let's take a look.
You down? Who let you down? Who let you down? You still don't believe, you don't believe.
Oh my God.
Believe, and your grievances show when your soapbox unfolds.
Oh,
but please come down
my God.
From that cloud.
All right, he put up some billboards. Put up some billboards. Oh my God! No! Fuck me over fucking fuck! Are you kidding me? Come on!
All right, so earlier in the movie, and I don't think I touched on this. Didn't get talked about in any of the scenes that I did, but Sydney had asked Peter for some money for an investment he was working on, and was very secretive about it. It turns out that investment was to get Peter some billboards, and we see the result of those billboards. Now, obviously, as a realtor, that would be a pretty bold strategy to go with like these ridiculous, over-the-top, comedy-based billboards. I'd be very curious to see if it actually works, because definitely is eye-catching. But I've never seen a realtor actually approach this. I'm sure there's one out there that's doing it. I mean, there's a lot of realtors out there, and I would not be shocked if this is a strategy that some realtor out there is taking. But we can see that Peter's very uncomfortable with the outcome, but his friend or business consultant or business coach, Sydney, has gone ahead and taken the liberty of doing this. I don't know how likely it is that someone would actually take on your marketing without your permission. Probably not recommended in a friendship situation, but we can see the results of that in this next scene when we see something that gets me excited. Is I wish this would happen to me, but we'll see in a second what happens with the billboards.
Davis Dunn, how may I direct your call?
Hey, Leanne.
Peter, where have you been?
Oh, well, It's my wedding this weekend, so I've been helping my fiance with all the last-minute preparations.
They broke the mold when they made you.
Yeah.
Go check your voicemail. You got like a million messages.
Yeah, is this Pistol Pete? I have a home in Los Feliz, and I've been trying to sell it, and I saw your billboards. I'm very impressed with your ads.
License to sell? That's hysterical. It's like James Bond.
Hi, I'm interested in buying the Ferrigno estate. If you could
my
give me
God.
a call.
I love the one with you in the bed. My number is 310.
My husband and I just saw your
Slow
ad.
down.
Hello, Peter. It's Doug. Saw the billboards. They are wonderful. Wouldn't expect anything less from you. And sorry about calling you a whore. And hello to Sydney if you guys are still together. Otherwise, you can Facebook me.
Peter, hi, it's Lou Ferrigno. Wonderful billboard. Listen, I'm sorry if I ever doubted your man. I told that douchebag Kevin that I want you to have the exclusive back on my house.
Excuse me, Mr. Ferrigno?
Yeah.
10-minute warning.
Okay, thank you. So, just call me or just text me. Goodbye, my friend.
There's the dog! Hey, me Reiki the billboards. I completely underestimated you, my brother. What say we go down to Houston's, get a burger and a beer, and talk about how we can tag team the Ferrigno deal? Ow! Why are you slapping me?
Because I wanted to cause you some physical pain, but I have never actually hit anybody in the face. It freaks me out, and I didn't really know what to do. Tevin, stay the fuck away from my listing.
Hey, Carolyn.
Hey, Pete. Good luck, Peter.
All right, so we see the billboards paid off there, which is pretty predictable. I mean, that probably would work. I don't know that I have $8,000 to spend on comedy-based billboards, and I'm not sure. There's probably some ethical things in there and whatnot, but the point being is, Peter gets out of his comfort zone here. Well, really was kind of forced to because he didn't make the choice on the billboard, but he sees the benefit of it immediately and gets all these calls from clients, including, which I think this is a great point. I actually jotted it down while I was watching it. Regaining the confidence of his client. So this is very appropriate because I said earlier, one of our least favorite calls as realtors is getting that call from your client saying, hey, Craig, what is going on with my listing? We're not getting any offers. What's going on? I mean, generally speaking, it's probably price because, we have, if you're kind of a tech-enabled agent like myself, you have full visibility of the people that have seen the listing, that have visited the listing. And, we have stats as to we say things like, for every 6 visits, you should be getting an offer. And if you're not, it's probably a price thing. We rerun comps and everything else, yada, yada, yada. But what happens very often is when you have a stale listing like that, you'll get a call from your client like the one that Lou Ferrigno had earlier with Paul Rudd to say, hey, what's going on? I thought we were going to do this and I have no confidence in what's happening. Is us as realtors, it can be tough sometimes that there's that period before your offer where you've gotten the listing ready, you've done all the things, your client is somewhat confident in what you're putting together, they see some promo stuff come out that looks good, but the offers aren't coming and they're losing confidence in you. And then what happens is you get the offer and then you start, as realtors, and I say this all the time, this is where our value kicks in, is because now we have this whole 60-day project to close the house. There's a lot of things that are negotiations and inspections and appraisal and everything else that you're going to be advising your client on. And a lot of times what happens is that's when we regain that client confidence. So this is a good demonstration of that, is now Lou has seen something outside of his dealings with Peter, and that he's seeing this very creative marketing approach and has regained his confidence in his realtor, Peter. And Peter is feeling that, as well as getting all these other calls from new clients who saw his billboard and were like, you know what, I want to do business with this guy. So very funny. I jotted down another note. You see that Peter is embracing the change of the things he got from Sydney in terms of his business coaching and his confrontation with Tevin and saying, stay away from my listing. And you also see 2 things. On the way out the door, he has interactions with 2 other women in the office, which clearly are rooting for him. And we've seen earlier in the movie that Tevin had some very unsavory interactions with some women in the office, and this idea that Peter can have it both ways. He can still be the office nice guy. He can still be the nice guy realtor, but he can tap into some of these energies that Sydney introduced him to get himself out there and market himself a little bit better. So very apropos. I mean, it's actually, like I said, I hadn't seen this since I've been a realtor, but I was like, they hit actually quite a few notes here, very similar to the South Park episode that I did the reaction video on. So, yeah, great job. I mean, it's pretty, a lot of kind of day in the life stuff of what we deal with. I think that a lot of it's, Hollywood version, but it's actually pretty good job. So I'm sure they hire realtor consultants to take them through these things, and they did a great job putting it together. So that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's a great movie. Check it out. There's a whole other plot here. Obviously, this is not the main plot of the movie. Selling the Frigno listing, which, hey, I'd watch that movie, but I don't think it's going to be that interesting to all that many people. But I wanted to focus on the realtor parts of it. If you haven't seen the movie, go check it out. It's a great, easy watch, very easily digestible. Great soundtrack. I'm a big Paul Rudd fan, and there's a lot of great people. There's a lot of character actor cameos and stuff in there. So check it out. So if you like the video, if you enjoy these, check out some of my other reaction videos. You'll see those on my channel. Please, as always, please like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. And appreciate you guys hanging out this long. If you made it this far, it's definitely appreciated by me. And I hope everyone's doing well out there. And take care.